Hey, sis. Welcome back to another episode of Bet on Yourself, sis. I'm your host, Jasmine Gary, aka Pink Lady. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm super excited for another episode. Super excited for this whole season, too. So, this episode is with Anna Deshawn, who is a social entrepreneur, storyteller, community organizer, and award winning podcaster. Anna's all about centering and celebrating BIPOC and QTPOC creatives. And in this episode, we talk about social entrepreneurship and what that actually means, the importance of rest and self care, being intentional in planning, building a strong support system, setting big boundaries, and defining success for yourself. And that really is what the episode is all about, that last one, defining success for yourself. So I know that you will learn a lot from Anna because I did. And I know this episode can help you bet on yourself.
Yeah. Bet on yourself, sis. Bet on yourself, sis. You've got the goal, confidence and style. Let your power show. You such a boss.
Anna Deshawn. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. I'm going to try not to fangirl because I've been following you for a little while and I love what you do. So, you are a multi award winning podcast producer and host. You're all about centering and celebrating Black, Indigenous, queer, trans, people of color, creatives, and I love it. So for people who don't know who you are, I'm super excited actually for people who don't know who you are because it's an honor and a privilege to like get to introduce you to people. So that's super cool. But for those of you who already know Anna, this will be a great conversation, you know. So for Anna, for the people who don't know who you are, please introduce yourself, tell them who you are and what you do and what you're all about.
First, thank you for inviting me on.
Absolutely.
I'm glad to be here with you and your audience. I appreciate you and your support of the work. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Family. I'm Anna Deshawn, your favorite queer radio personality, social entrepreneur, media personality, and someone who just is committed to telling the stories that deserve to be
Mhm.
heard and amplifying the voices that often get lost in the algorithms.
Mhm.
So that's the work that I do.
Absolutely. Talk about first what being a social entrepreneur means.
It means I want to make money, yes. And it means I also want to do some good in the process. You know, we live in capitalism, which says
Mhm.
that you are against me, that it is about making as much money as you can, and all of these things that we're taught.
Mhm.
Even when we don't know we're being taught,
Mhm.
it's ingrained in our society. And I believe we can make money because we must and use it as a tool. And we ought to be doing some good at the same time, right? I think it's sort of the insurance or penance or whatever we paid for,
Hmm.
walking on the earth. And we ought to be doing that. So
Yeah.
that's what I consider to be a social entrepreneur, somebody who wants to do some good and make some money at the same time.
Absolutely. And I love that because a lot of us have this like starving artist mindset. We're taught that if we, work on our own and if we get to do the things that we love, that we're not supposed to make money. And
Mm,
no, like that doesn't make
no.
sense. That doesn't go along with it at all, right? That's just.
No, I like nice things. I like
Mm
nice things. I like nice fabric. I
hmm.
like nice sheets. Matter of
Mm
fact,
hmm.
I like going to nice places with beaches and oceans and sunshine
Yes.
and 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 I want to live that life. There is nothing wrong with money. And if
Yeah.
you are a person of faith, the word says it's the love of money that is really the root of all evil, right? It is not the thing itself, it is how we treat it,
Mm hmm.
and it is how power has used it against other folks that
Mm,
make people feel that way. Um,
absolutely.
and I think that money, and we also look at money based upon how we grew up with money. And child, go unpack that in therapy, okay? We ain't gonna do that on this
Mm-hmm.
episode.
Okay.
But
Yes.
how you deal, work, talk about money is because of how you grew up with it. Whether you had a
Yeah.
lot of it or you didn't have enough of it, or you had enough or people made a way, it all impacts how you live or function with money.
Yeah.
And we don't have to live like that. I'm not here to say I don't know if we need billionaires in the world. And my friends look at me like I'm crazy. Okay. I'm not sure that's a thing that is needed.
Mhm.
Yes, especially when there's people who are living in so much poverty. I think that
Mhm.
that is a moral question for so many people. But at the end of the day, we need money to live in this
Mhm.
society. And we
Mhm.
need money to do good and give back to those, folks, organizations that deserve it. And so that's how I'm moving through the world.
Yeah, and I like that mindset because it just makes sense, right? But think about like if you want to have impact, right? If you want to share resources, a lot of times you got to have money. You got to be making money, right? And also like you said, we live in a capitalist society. Like we got to make money, right, in order to be comfortable, in order to produce the things that we need and want, right? We gotta make a little money, so it just makes sense.
Just a little bit based
Yeah,
upon how you want to live. I got friends that
yeah,
like, and I'm about to build me a tiny home. I don't need a lot of space.
I
I just
love
need a
it.
tiny home. Child, you go build your tiny home, okay? Be great in your tiny home. The amount of money that that person needs to live in that tiny home is different. The amount of money I need to live in my house with my expensive wife and my allergic dog, okay? Who eat better than most people who live in this house. You understand? So your I think it's really important for people to understand and to define success for themselves. And
Yes.
success looks like so many different ways than what we were taught success is supposed to be.
Hmm.
Make it be whatever the way you want to live your life,
Yes. Yes. And that's another great point. Oh my gosh, because I remember success to me used to be being busy. I was booked and busy and I was successful, but I was also sick a lot of the times. Also, I was also doing a lot of things that I did not want to do. I was just doing, cuz I felt like I needed to, right?
Yeah.
So, success to me now looks a lot different. It looks like rest. It looks like going on vacation, right? It
Yes.
looks like planning a life for me and my partner. So, yeah, very different. And I like how you said define it for yourself, because what success looks like for me doesn't look like what success looks like for you, right, Anna? So
Absolutely.
that makes sense. You have to define it for yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's talk about your entrepreneurship journey, because you
Mm.
have built a lot of amazing things. We have Queer News, E3 Radio, The Cube, just to name a few.
Mhm.
So please talk about how and why your entrepreneurship journey started, and go to wherever you want to stop.
Wherever I want to stop, we're gonna be
Yeah.
here forever. Don't tell,
I'm here to learn from you, so please.
don't tell a podcast to that. So, I've always wanted to be in journalism since I was a child. I remember being in journalism camps. My parents put me in journalism camps to because I always just wanted to tell stories. And Robin Roberts is my North Star. Always has been. Sports broadcasting was where I wanted to go. That's what I went to school for. Radio, TV production, Drake University. I went and got my master's in communications from Ithaca College. It was just always what I wanted to do. And I was very clear about that from a very early age. What I didn't know that I'd be so queer and so mask presenting that on camera trajectory would actually be problematic, because the people that we see on TV do not look like or present like me. Now, your social media feed, yes, but not on network television. And so during undergrad, I had an internship at a radio station, and I absolutely fell in love. People would call and say, "Oh, I love your voice," this and that. And I was like, I'm sitting here in sweats, turning on Tom Joyner. No one has to stare at me or be concerned about how I present. And ever since then, I was like, radio's the way I want to go. Since then, I had a radio show at every iteration of my life. And when I finished school, I ended up in corporate America doing online broadcasting before anybody knew what the world we were doing. And I started my radio station during that time in my life. And so the corporate work, once again, was funding the passion that I had to tell the stories that were happening in my community that I didn't think was getting the coverage it needed. I also decided to go a non-traditional route in my career because I didn't want to go to another small market. I'm from the south side of Chicago. I went to school in Des Moines, Iowa. I got my master's in Ithaca, New York. I know most people that are listening to this podcast have no idea what I was thinking. I don't either. Okay. It was about the education. But after 6 years of that, I was like, I got to go home. I have to I got to see Black people again in my life, period.
Yes.
And going the traditional broadcast journalism route takes you to small markets inherently so that you can learn your craft, hone your craft, all these things before you may get an opportunity to land in a larger market. Chicago's the third largest market in the country. You don't go from graduation to the third largest market in the country. You go to like Tennessee. Maybe you end up in North Dakota or something, honing your skills. So I did take a non-traditional route in my journey, and it proved to be exactly what I was supposed to do. Corporate funded E3 radio the entire time I was there. Quit corporate 5 years ago, and to start the Cube. And out of that, Queer News was born. And we just been on the ride. Honestly, we've been on the ride ever since. And I'm looking forward in this moment to relaunching the Cube platform and building the largest database and dopest search engine for Black and Brown podcasts. So I'm looking forward to this next phase of the journey and seeing where it takes me.
Oh, beautiful. I want to go back to two things. First, I want to talk about parents. You said your parents put you in all these journalism camps. And I think that's very important for parents to support their children's dreams, right?
Yeah.
So I want you to talk a little bit about that, but also want to hear about like where does this passion come from, because it like pours through you. So like where does it come from?
For sure. My parents are so supportive. It's wild. I grew up a church kid, okay? I got a big family on both sides. And whatever I wanted to do, we did it. And they made sure of it. I'm so grateful. I have always been aware that I have been extremely privileged in my life and blessed. I didn't know what was going to happen after I came out, and yet my dad still walked me down the aisle. My mom was cool. Everybody was good. And that is not the typical story. That is not the story of the folks I'm in community with, right? So I feel like to whom much is given, much is expected. And in all things I want to make them proud in every step of the way, because they poured so much into me and sacrificed so much so that I could do all the things that I did and continue to do. Those journalism camps were so fun. I remember the one I remember the most is the one at Bradley University. And we were in there cutting tape, and like, this is old school, no Final Cut Pro. We was out here, shooting these stories on campus, coming back in the edit bays and editing, putting the stories together. And I was reading the church announcements. Okay, I was the kid that read all the time. Somebody needs something to be read, I was reading. Okay, now I didn't know that meant I was going to be talking a whole lot, because I really am not someone who talks a lot. If you hang out with me, I don't have that much to say out loud. I'm a Virgo child. I am not great with small talk. Are we talking about something that matters? Oh, okay, cool. We talking about housewives? I probably ain't got nothing for you. Okay. That's my wife. This is why she comes outside with me. Okay. and it's one of these things where people tell you your whole life you're good at something, and then when you realize, oh, you are actually good at that thing, you lean into it. So I was the reader. I was the one doing announcements. And not only at church, at school, I was like reading the school announcements, and it was just always something that came very naturally to me, words in that way. And I'm passionate about it because I really do think storytelling gives us a window into people's humanity that I think is missing so much. And as someone who did grow up as a church kid and is child at this point a professional queer, I am always just so frustrated with the alt-right and the folks who demonize us and send us to hell somewhere. The hell they ain't got no business throwing nobody in. But also just this fighting back against these notions and these ideas that they have conjured up and dispelling all of them and just being very clear that this is the work that I'm supposed to be doing, because I recognize that I am good at that particular work. And it gets me fired up. I've always been like this. Let my dad tell it. He got plenty of stories, okay? Um, about me, my mom too. And I've just always been this way, just incredibly passionate about whatever I'm doing and
Yeah.
wanting to do it well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see so many parallels in your story and mine. I also grew up in the church. I was also that kid that was always reading. Even now, I always got a book in my hand for sure. Like I'm always reading something. But reading out loud, that was my thing. I didn't understand why other people didn't like reading out loud or, didn't have the same abilities. As a kid, I did not understand that.
Mhm.
I am 100% yes, call on me. Absolutely. I got all the questions. I want to talk. And it's funny because now I can see, like, in my journey, the podcast was absolutely birthed from, oh, I love to talk. I love to ask people questions. I love to learn all of that. So
Yeah.
it's really beautiful to see, like, to acknowledge, like, that journey, like, and to be able to see it. Hey, y'all. Pink Lady here. I'm a podcast producer, director, coach, and host. And I want to tell you all about my production company, Pink Lady Productions. We collaborate with creatives like you who are driven to share your message by launching your podcast from A to Z and coaching you through the process. To learn more about our services, check out our website at pinkladyprod.com. That's PINKLADYPROD.com. So I want to know how do you rest? How do you like come down from all of the passion and all of the amazing things that you're doing and, rebuild yourself so that you can continue to do all of those amazing things, because burnout is real, stress is real, stress is a killer, right? So how do you keep yourself not stressed and not, all the way up here and bringing it down?
I don't think I'm great. Okay. I don't think I'm great at this.
Okay.
I will say I'm better at it. After you burn out a few times and
Mm.
you learn what it feels like when you're about to hit the wall. I think, when you're in your 20s, you don't know what the wall is.
Okay.
I was just going, you know what I mean? You start to hit 29, 30, 31, you realize, oh, there's a wall.
Yeah.
There is a wall. The bounce back ain't as serious. Okay, ain't as quick as it used to be. Oh, I can't party Friday through Sunday and wake up on Monday morning no more and feel great. It's over time you begin to learn what it feels like, your body feels like, your patterns are, to know when you're about to hit that wall, right? For me, one of the patterns is that dishes start to pile up in the sink. Because if the dishes are piling up, that means I ain't cooking, because I ain't cooking in no dirty kitchen. There's these you begin to recognize these things about yourself, and then you begin to ask yourself questions like, what is going on in my life right now? Because if this is all happening, I can see it for myself now, I know I'm about to hit this wall. And so because I've had these moments, I have learned how to ground myself when I need to, and I have a practice of being in my meditation corner. I have a practice of talking into my phone and doing my gratitudes. I have a practice of writing my gratitudes, waking up in the morning and being grateful and thanking God for another day to get it right. I have these practices, affirmations. Child, I do everything. Pick one, I do it to ground myself, because it's so very easy to be overwhelmed. There's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot going on in your life. And then there's a lot going on in the work. And for me, it is about doing these practices all the time.
Yes.
I wake up in the morning and there's a practice. In the middle of the day, there's a practice. In the evening, there's a practice. I think, so often we think it only happens at certain times of the day, child, it is a constant thing. It's a muscle that you have to work in order to feel a balance all the time. And that is what I find works for me. Also, recognize, and I hope everybody listening understands this too, that everybody has a different threshold for work. Like my capacity to do the work is much higher than other people's capacity to do the work. So you also have to realize and understand your own body and what your capacity is. And I also stopped comparing myself to other people. because I don't know what their capacity is. I
Mhm.
also don't know what kind of help or assistance they have in comparison to
Mhm.
what I got.
Yep.
So I'm just stay focused on me and my work and what I'm supposed to be doing in this moment, and just keep these practices in constant rotation. Whatever is accessible to me in the moment, that's what I do to stay grounded.
Absolutely. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like how you said it's like a constant thing. It's not just when, once I hit that wall, then I start doing all these things. No, I'm consistently doing those things because I'm preparing my body and my nervous system for like when I can see the wall. When I can
Yeah.
see the wall, then I might do something a little more drastic, or that's the word that comes to mind, but for lack of a better word, a little more drastic, right? But for the most part, yeah, I'm doing these things along the way so that I can prepare because I know that those times are gonna come. And I think that's a key, y'all. Like that's a tip right there. It just makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I've also gotten better about planning my life
Mm-hmm.
and planning what this season is going to look like. I think this year is a really good example of that. This first quarter, I know what it may look like from the outside because social media is
Mm-hmm.
all a lie. Okay. But it has, for me, I have felt like my head has been down in the work in a
Mm-hmm.
very intentional way. I have felt um, a steadiness in this first quarter intentionally because I understand that I have a desire to go really, really hard in Q2 and Q3 in the name of relaunching the cube. And so I know that I have to preserve some energy for myself
Yeah.
because I'm about to expend a whole lot of energy in Q2 and Q3. Understanding that Q4 is nothing but a moment because the holidays are going to hit and we do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
The body
mm.
understands that it's time to stop. Come about November 1st, the body's like, aren't you done? And so
Mm-hmm.
recognizing that too at this point in my life. And so I do a good job today of planning
Mm.
what I want my year to look like and what I want my
Yeah.
next year to look like so that I have the
Yeah.
energy I need to do the work.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about what your support system looked like?
Mm.
You talked about, like not comparing yourself, which is another key. I hope y'all are listening. Because yeah, comparison is the thief of all joy. You worrying about what they doing over there, and they have a completely different support system. Their goals are different. Like there's so many differences, even though it looks like, oh, they're kind of doing what I want to do, right? Or they're kind of doing what I'm doing. So it's so very important. But having a support system, especially as an entrepreneur, oh, I think it's very important.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you could just talk a little bit more about what that looks like for you.
Sure. Yeah. Family, friends, right? Trusted
Mm-hmm.
core, always here.
Yes.
Then there is the teams that are actually doing the work with me and alongside me. So last year I was intentional because I've been thinking about this relaunch for the Cube for a while. But I also understood that I needed to put a team around the work so that I could have more energy for this other set of work. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe we can have it all, but
Mm.
usually not all at the same time.
Yes, there you go.
Okay. So last year I was intentional about trying to build this team. I've always had an editor for the pod for the majority of the show. In the beginning, I didn't, but for the majority of Queer News, I've had an editor. So me and Ryan been rocking for a couple seasons now, but I
Nice.
needed somebody to help alleviate the stress of script writing and deep research from my
Mm.
plate in order for me to really have a lift of time that I felt like I could
Mm.
do the work for the Cube. So I was able to get that last year. So we have a producer now who does the deep research. We work on the stories together, and then she writes my scripts and have learned to write in my voice. And then
Mm.
when she's done with the script, I take my time before I record, make any edits I need to make, add the pieces that I know about stories that maybe she doesn't know about the stories, and then I make my edits and then I record.
Yeah.
And then I have an assistant now who get you an assistant. That's all I'm gonna say. My people told me for years I needed an assistant, and I just I just didn't. But let me tell you, game changer, life changing situations. And so she then makes the posts, sends the newsletters out, um, and does all these other things I need help with. And so that team has afforded me energy and brain space to think
Mm-hmm.
and to strategize and do the work that I've needed to do to prepare for this relaunch for the Q. And so I'm really grateful for that.
Yes. I love how you said it afforded you energy and brain space, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of the times we talk about, well, there's a give and take in everything, right? Like to make money,
Mm-hmm.
you got to spend money, right? And a lot of the times we only think about like, oh, if I get an assistant, that's going to cost a lot of money, right? And
Yeah.
I want to, I want to be able to pay people well. I want to be able to pay people what they want to, want to make and things like that. But a lot of the times we only think about the money. We don't think about how much we're going to get back, how much time and brain space and energy and all of those things, right? So can you just talk a little bit more about that specifically?
100%. I needed to make the financial investment so that I could get some of my energy and time back in my life.
Yeah.
There's a book that I swear by called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. And he has this example in there where his friend was trying to fix something and it's not what he does at all. He spent all these hours fixing it, trying to fix it and never fixed it. And they hired somebody who did it in like 10 minutes and he paid whatever. And his hourly rate, right? If he was to charge somebody for something, right, he lost 5 times as much than just paying somebody who's really good at this thing. Child, I mean, that's really the point here. um, it's not that I can't do everything my assistant is doing. It is not that. It's that the thing she's doing gives me time back to do something I ought to be doing in that moment versus responding to an email or making a post or sending out this newsletter, because we send out 2 for queer news every week. And she ensures that it's done timely. Like, right? She ensures that I'm remembering to do XYZ on my to-do list and what needs to be prioritized. She's a partner in this work. And we need that. She's also thinking about things that sometimes I'm not thinking about because I'm so knee deep in the work. And once again, this is a capitalism thing because we're taught we can do it all by ourselves. You can do it. Pull yourself out by them invisible bootstraps that you ain't got for real and be great. And it's really just not how we were meant to work or live or be. We were meant to do things with each other. We were meant to do things in community. And so for me, it is paying the salaries of these people, right? Their hourly fees. I just make sure that I'm doing my work in sales to bring in the money to cover it because it is worth that much to me in this thing being successful. Yes, the producer, my editor, my assistant, like if nobody else is going to get paid, including myself, these people are going to get paid.
Yeah.
I also got a video editor who edits my shorts. And we have a system, and when I can't, she does, right? She is going to get paid. Because who was it? Brene Brown. Brene Brown did an interview. I can't think of the person's name, but it was funny. It was so funny because she was like, the person she was on somebody's podcast, and the podcaster was like, but what if I'm better at it than they are? And she was like, you probably are. And you can keep doing it if you want to have your tiny little impact in your tiny little room and you're tiny by yourself and your tiny little this. You can do it by yourself. But if you want a big vision, you got a big dream, and you want to do a lot of big things, you cannot do that by yourself.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it makes so much sense.
Yeah, mic drop. That was a mic drop moment.
It truly
for sure.
was. I wish I could remember the podcast name. And she's a big podcaster too. She just won an award. I can't think of her name, but it was a whole moment that I hope a lot of people got. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, because that That's it. That's so true. In another, Shervon, her first name is Shervon. I believe her last name is Larice. She's a therapist, and she has an episode on the podcast as well. I will make sure to drop it in the show notes. But she talked about like being the difference in being a business owner and an entrepreneur, and that's exactly what you're talking about right there. Is like being a business owner, that's always being in the business, right? That's always doing all the things, right? When you have the entrepreneurship mindset, you learn to let other people take over these mundane or tasks that I don't want to do, or, you know, like just whatever. You let people take over those things so that you can expand in other ways, right? Because the entrepreneurship mindset is always like growing, right? It's always seeing this big picture. It's always seeing this huge vision. And the people that are working for those, you know, big mindset people are helping that vision come to life.
Yes.
That's it. And if you don't have those people, then that vision can't come to life a lot of the time. So that's a key.
That's it. That's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
And everybody listening, it's okay to be a business owner if that's exactly what you want to do.
Absolutely.
If there are so many in our communities who are business owners, this is all they want to have this one shop. They want to be able to provide for themselves and their family, and that's it.
Yep.
That is a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
Entrepreneurship, in this example that you've given, is a different thing. And that too is okay.
Mm-hmm.
and I think this all goes back to how you define success, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it 10 Harold's? I'm from Chicago, y'all. Southside all day.
Yeah.
Is it 10 Harold's Chicken Shacks? Okay. Is it 32 Harold's Chicken Shacks? Or you just want to have your one chicken shack that's known for making the best chicken on the block?
Right.
And you have more than enough, more than you ever dreamed of, right? There's nothing wrong with either model. Everybody is built different. Do what you built for. Do what you called to do, and be good with it.
That's it. Because it's all about doing what you're called to do, right? And
Yes.
serving the community in the way that you want to serve. So
That's right.
absolutely. And it does go back to defining success for yourself, because it's not about anybody else. It's about you and how you want to live your life, right?
That's it.
So yeah, absolutely. So you've given some great advice throughout this episode, but if you have any advice specifically for Black women entrepreneurs, what would it be?
Okay. So advice I would give Black women entrepreneurs specifically is that we do not have to give 100% all the time.
Ooh.
Which is so hard
Wait,
for us.
say that again. Stop. I'm sorry. Just please. A little bit louder for the people in the back, because I know we need it again. So please.
We don't have to give 100% all the time. We don't. I am on a mission to show up as a mediocre white man for the majority of my time.
Okay.
There are very specific things that get me to 100%. Because what I know about us is that we are absolutely brilliant. We are amazing. We can do 50 things at once and still make it look easy.
Okay.
And I mean that. Like, Black women are incredible. They're mothering a child over here, talking to their partner over here through a crisis, yes, and managing work drama in front of them, and still working out at 6 a.m. in the morning and cooking dinner at 6 o'clock at night, and waking up and doing it all over again. We're pretty incredible. And let me just add in the world real quick, because you're going to experience racism over here and sexism over here. And somehow people still come to you for advice as if you got it all together.
Okay.
We give 100, and to others it looks like 1,000. And this is what I mean. We are amazing, and you don't have to give every little thing everything you got. Some things only deserve 20% of you. Some things only deserve 50% of who you are. And you leave all of who you are for the things that you are most passionate about for the things that you want to
Yes.
succeed the very most. And then you do your work to preserve all the other energy, right? For all the little things. I
Yeah.
think, you know, I don't know how y'all was raised, but I was raised to strive for near perfection
Oh
in
yeah.
absolutely everything.
Yes.
And I took that to heart. And there was nothing necessarily wrong with that. But at this big age, I'm clear that everybody doesn't respect it.
Mm.
Everybody hasn't respected or protected that energy.
Yeah.
And then I learned that they didn't deserve all of it.
Mm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so it is in that spirit that I share that with y'all, because yeah, everybody doesn't deserve all 100% of you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Uh, that is great advice. And I think because, yes, I grew up the same way, told that, you strive for perfection. If you do it once, you better do it right, right? That type of mindset. And it's just like, no, no. First of all, I understand why that mindset protected your generation, right? I totally get it. But I have a completely different mindset, which is always being in a learning mindset, right? I'm always taking in new information. I'm somebody who considers myself a lifelong learner. And I also consider learning, like I can learn from so many different ways, right? It doesn't have to be traditional education. I'm sitting here and I'm learning so much from you, Anna, right?
Mm.
So yeah, I love that, because I was always someone who put 100% into everything.
Yes.
And no. This podcast gets 100%. My business, right? Building that gets 100% of me.
Yes.
But the part-time things I do, the smaller projects I do, right? Like, no.
We
So,
negotiate those spaces, right? We set
yeah,
boundaries for those spaces.
absolutely.
Yes, we must. We must.
Absolutely. And I love how you brought up boundaries, because big boundaries in this area of my life. And I think they're very important, right? That's how I don't get burnout. That's how I don't, keep myself stressed, because again, stress will kill you. Like, seriously.
Literally.
So, yeah. Yeah. So thank you so much. This conversation has been amazing. I learned a lot from you. I just want to make sure, was there anything that you wanted to talk about that we didn't get to?
I just want everybody to go visit the Cube today.
Yes,
If you
definitely.
are a podcaster and identify as Black or Brown, sign up. Join the database.
Absolutely.
We got a lot of good things coming down the pipe. If you're somebody who listens to this podcast, that means you're a podcast listener. You should join the wait list, so that when we drop the beta version of the web app, you'll be one of the first to know. We're building something pretty dope that I hope will disrupt the podcasting space in the best possible way.
Yes.
So we just need everybody to know about it.
Love that. And the link will definitely be in the show notes, so don't worry, y'all, it's going to be there for you. That advice from Anna was everything. We, as Black women, we do it all so freaking easily. And most of the times we're doing it, we're not even thinking about it, because it just comes so naturally to us, right? And that is why we're so burnt out. That's why we're so tired all the damn time. I know for me, that's why I was getting sick all the time. So please take that advice, do yourself a favor, and stop putting your 100% of energy into everything. Save that 100% for the things that you're really passionate about, the things that you love, you care for, that light you up. And go sign up for the Cube app. Whether you're a podcaster or a listener, the link is in the show notes. Check it out.